Hey, what's going on YouTube? It's DV. So today I'm going to be showing you how to make a daily food farm. So you're wondering like, what DV, what is a daily food farm? I'm going to show you what a daily food farm is. So check this out. If we come out here and we talk to the baker, right? So we can go over to this baker and his name is Petur. Petur, you can barely see it, but it's a P-E-T-U-R. So you can see right here, I get daily offers and they refresh. It looks like they're going to refresh in a couple hours, but every day these swap out, right? So how do you really truly make a food farm if they're constantly switching out? That's why I'm making a daily food farm. So the daily food farm is actually going to allow us to make multiple foods that have a chance to actually be sold to the baker for the day. So every day you can come in here and you can see what the baker's currently buying from you, and then you can swap your machine out to actually work with that item. So, you know, say you want a little bit of extra money for the day, pretty much if he's doing starfruit cakes, then you can switch your farm to starfruit cakes and start making starfruit cakes and then come over here and sell them to him. Now there is a bit of an investment on this because you do need to have multiple crops, but I'm going to actually start out with the basics first, because you can't just make whatever you want to be able to sell. So like some of these items are going to be a little bit less practical than others. For example, both of these are perfect because you could pretty much 100% auto these. Jam sandwich is a little bit more tricky because you need to make jam, you need to make, you need to make bread. So you got to cook the bread and all that kind of stuff. And then same for, actually these are kind of a similar process in that you got to drop stuff manually because you can't truly auto farm them. But over here, the orange honeycomb is a little bit more tricky as well. So, these two are actually the best ones to be farming. The other great thing about this is if, he's not buying stuff from you right now, you can actually sell these directly from your store as well. So you can actually make more money if you sell these items directly from your shop. But the problem is what happens when people aren't actually really interested in buying them? Well, that's why we need to have the baker. So the baker is going to give you money when you just don't feel like having to interact with other players and you don't really feel like having to like set up a shop and wait for people to buy it and then adjust your pricing. This is a really great way for you to just continue to make money without really having to rely on players. So let's go back to my farm here and we're going to set this up. So how this is going to work is you actually need 3 different machines, okay? So you're going to need 3 food processors and you're going to need an oven. So the oven is going to be used to cook your food. So I'm going to show you what we're going to be cooking here. So what we really want to focus first on are things that you can fully automate. So you cannot fully automate the berry dough because you have to actually go manually farm berries and then you got to drop them into your food processor. And we're going to cover that as a secondary in a little bit. And then, obviously this one we can fully automate because you can actually have carrots and dough. So I'm going to cover that in a little bit. It does require you washing the carrots as well. So we're going to need a washing station. And then you got the apple pie here that we cannot do because it does require, you got to basically go around to different trees, pluck the apples. This one's not very cost effective or efficient for you to be, selling. If you want to do it, great, but it's just a real big pain to do. Same with this. You have to actually roast the carrots and then you got to get, make the jars of honey. It makes no sense to ever make. The avocado toast is actually pretty easy to make, but again, it's kind of a change of order because if this actually just required dough, this would have fit in just like this one, right? This would have been perfect, but the problem is you have to cook the bread. So you have to cook the dough first to make bread and then you got to combine those. So we're going to say no to avocado toast. Dough we're going to be making for all of these options that we're about to show. And then right here, we got tomato sauce and dough. Now this one's a little tricky because we do need tomato sauce. In this case, we actually have one more step to process. And I would say, if you were going to do anything, I would say this one right here, the carrot cake and the starfruit cake are the best ones to be making. So these 2 cakes are the easiest to auto, but I'm going to show you how to make this one as well. And then same for tomato sauce is going to be a part of that process. And then right here, going to potato salad. This is a big pain because you have to spin a bunch of eggs. So you got to do a lot of prep work for this one in order to be able to make it. And it's just a real manual process. I would say not to, use this for an auto food processor. Honey toast, similar issue as avocado toast. Deviled eggs, similar issue. You get actually, go manually pick up eggs and make mayo. So this is great if you're just kind of a smaller, farm and you just want to make these just for fun. And then orange cake batter, similar issue to berry pie. The only difference here is that you're doing oranges instead of berries. So it's a big pain still. And then same thing with lemon bread, very similar. All you're doing is switching out the orange with the lemon. And that's the same for apple pie as well. So, and then tomato soup's a big pain because you have to make a bunch of tomato sauce. The nice thing about this one is if you don't have like an oven and you don't really want to go and make an oven, this one requires no oven, which is really nice because it just requires tomatoes, tomato sauce, and onions. And then this one right here is just grape jam, which I have yet to see. I don't know if you can actually sell these directly to the baker. I rarely see it if you can. So this is really going to just be for the jam sandwiches. And then of course, This one right here is completely automatable because you just need starfruit seeds and a way to cook the dough, and then you got to bake this to make the cake. And these right here are still locked. I'm going to show you what those look like, but those are kind of a pain to make as well. So scrolling down here, those are the candy apples and lemon puff, as well as the orange honeycomb. And anytime you get into these fruit items, it just basically means you got to go around to different trees, right? But I am going to show you, if you want to do that, I am going to show you how to do that with this daily food farm, because sometimes we might want to. Maybe you just want a couple thousand extra, you know, and it's worth the effort, then go for it. So let's go over here and let's make our auto farm. I think I'm going to make it the opposite side over here. This is going to be my food farm. So I'm going to start, you know, building this out here. We're going to actually bring it down a little bit because we don't want it too high up because it's going to be kind of ugly. So we're going to actually, you know, bring it down just a little bit. All right, so we got this platform, you know, pretty much crafted here. I just wanted to terraform a little bit more. I mean, I'm going to be living on this island for so long, you know, just jumping in here and out. I want it to look good. So again, here's what we're going to be making. So you can remember, we are going to be making the ones that can be completely automated so that we can get tons and tons of these. And so what I'll probably do is I'll cycle these out every day. So we're going to actually set up our wheat farm first. But let's design this out. You always want to chart out and plan what you're going to be doing. So let's get our plow out, and we're going to at least mark what we're going to be doing. So we're going to create first our wheat farm. So our wheat farm is going to probably come over here. So because I don't really need to access it, so we're pretty much going to set up a large wheat area over here, and it's going to require some conveyors and such. So check this out. So okay, we got this, and this is not going to be enough wheat, so we're going to have to bring this out quite a bit more. So we're going to pretty much have our wheat farm over here, though. If you have any other auto farms on your island, you do not want to do this. You don't want to use open conveyors because you're going to create despawn. And let's just say that the game has a limit on how many items can actually be on conveyors at once. So we are going to be making carrot cake and starfruit cake initially. So we're going to actually be doing 3 farms. We're going to be doing tomatoes, we're going to be doing starfruit, and carrots. So we do need a couple sections here. In fact, this might not be enough space, but we do need a couple sections here. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to raise these up. So this is going to be the starfruit section here. So we're gonna have starfruit in this area, and we're gonna expand this out a bit. So I gotta get rid of these lights. This night and day cycle makes it so hard to work sometimes, but that's why we have torches. And I'm only raising it. You don't actually have to raise this up if you don't want to. I kind of like that I can actually use it to drop stuff. So we're gonna raise this up a bit. Generally, like I said, I don't like doing this because it's a waste of blocks. Like what I'll probably do is I'll probably remove this bottom layer under it just so we can save some blocks. So with these crops, we're gonna need washers. Plus, we're going to be toggling what's going to be on and off. Now, if we had 24-hour power, I would actually use those to control the farm quite a bit. The problem is day and night cycle, right? And I don't really like the idea of using the infinite battery glitch because that can get patched any day now. And I just think it's kind of, you know, lame to use something that's kind of a glitch because it just means it's going to break at some point. So I would say we're not going to do any kind of electrical kind of items in this game. We're going to have to manually switch these things, you know, unfortunately, but it's not a big deal. It takes seconds to do. Okay, so this is going to be our starfruit area. And so the reason why we want a bigger area for starfruit as well is starfruit actually takes the most time to harvest. I don't know why, but it is the slowest. So we need to pretty much set that up right there. And we're going to move this over here. So this is going to be our carrot area. Carrots are actually quite fast, as are tomatoes. So we're going to make a smaller carrot farm here. And like I said, if you're worried about block count like I am, just take this off afterwards. You know, just destroy under it. No big deal. So this should be enough space for our carrots. It just depends on how much you want to make. I'm not trying to make the most OP farm in the world. If you're trying to make the most OP daily farm in the world, then you are going to, especially considering I'm not going to harvest this that often. I'll probably check this every day, grab everything because, you know, I'll probably overnight. So because I overnight, I'm going to fill up every single chest. I'm going to fill up chests faster than most people are going to fill up chests. So if you're going to be more of like an active grinder, you're probably going to want to stack this into a tower. Same for this and same for this. So it's going to be a way different design if you're trying to make a powerhouse. I'm just trying to make a daily food. I'm just trying to make a daily food farm. So I'm probably going to need to expand out on this as well a little bit. I wasn't going to do this, but I'm going to have to because of space. So I'm actually going to expand this out a little bit more. By the way, so I do have starfruit here. I know a lot of you can't actually afford starfruit seeds. So in that case, you know, especially the totems are really expensive, 150,000 each. In that case, I wouldn't really worry about starfruit. What I would probably start out with if I were you is wheat as well as carrots. So you can make carrot cake, and then you can, you know, slowly go and branch out to things like pizza, eventually starfruit. Do need to raise this as well because I don't want to have to use ramps. Ramps are another way to do it. I want to reduce as many materials as possible for you so that you can just follow along. But if I use conveyor ramps and you don't have the materials to be able to make those, then you're going to be stuck. The easy way to get around ramps is to just raise your farm. All right, so we have 3 plots right here. Let's plow this. So I know there's a lot of different farms out there that are powerful. Like I said, this is not meant to be a super powerful farm. It is meant to give you a means to an end. It's just practical. It's not trying to make it overly complex, because every single time I make these food farms, people send me like their giant food farms, and that's not really the point of this video. All right, so let's do some wheat totems. So again, we can only reach up to 3, right? So when you're looking at this, when you're trying to figure out what distance to do this is the farthest, right? 1, 2, 3. So it can be right here anywhere. Pretty much it's going to have a conveyor that's going to drop off right here. And then we can actually do another one right here. So the next wheat totem is going to be right there. And then 1, 2, 3. So we can get rid of this row right here. We don't need this. So just remember, these totems can actually reach up to 3, okay? Now what we can do is every other right here, we're going to do a totem. And what we're going to do is we're going to cut this part out as well. So we're going to cut these. And now this actually has an entire area it can actually reach, right? And this one has a little bit more limited space, but this is going to actually work just fine. And then what's going to happen here is we're going to actually use conveyors. You don't have to use conveyors. I'm going to go ahead and use conveyors. You can actually use in and out chests as well. Those work just fine. And what I mean by those is you can see these. So depending on where your conveyor is, you can set it up so that it drops on top. So if we're going to do in and out chests, basically conveyors are going to drop onto this like that. And then the conveyor would drop on this like that. So again, you could do it that way if you want. I'm actually not going to do it that way, because then I got to actually force this one around. It's going to kind of break the way I wanted to set up my farm. So we're going to go ahead and get rid of this, put our conveyors back out. All right, and now we just need that little spot right there. So we're going to fill that in, and then we're just going to use conveyors here. At this point right here, we're going to actually make our dough. Right here, what's going to happen is the wheat's going to come through, and then it's going to insert here, and then it's going to enter here, and then we're going to create our dough. So it's already selected, and it does require 3 wheat. And the reason why we want to do it right away is we're actually going to be transporting. So you can see we're going to use the in and out chest to get all the way over here to this farm in a second here. Let's go ahead and plant our wheat. Now, if you're going to make a bigger farm than this, I would highly recommend using in and out chests over here as well, right here, instead of conveyors. Just it'll be faster. Things move faster. It's just better all around. So starfruit, similar situation here. So this one's going to be a little bit more challenging because we do have a lot here. And the other challenge is it's slow. Starfruit is super slow. All right, similar to the other totems, right? We do have to have the distance here. So let's go ahead and grab our starfruit totem. So we got 1, 2, and 3 right here. So there's 1, 1, 2. So we got about there's good. That's probably good enough. So how this is going to work is we're actually going to cut a ravine right in the center here. Similar to what we did with wheat, like this. Here's our belt. How this is going to work is these are going to drop down. It's going to drop the starfruit over here. We need to combine starfruit with this dough, right? So this dough is going to continue to carry out through here. And then what's going to happen is we need these both to actually drop down. So how this is going to work is we're actually going to cut into the ground because we need to combine both of these. So we're going to drop that here and then that. So that way we have less of a conveyor because there's a bit of a distance between these compared to this. So it's going to drop down on that. It's going to carry it through. This is going to drop down as well. If I could, I would actually put another one here. Let's see, can I? I can. Okay, cool. So now the same thing's going to happen over here on this side for tomatoes, except the tomatoes I think are going to be a little closer. As soon as this fills up with enough dough, it's going to start dropping down. Now to test this, you can also block this. So if you don't want to have to wait, you can actually fill the rest of this with grass like this. And as long as the first one actually has, so whatever the first block is in here, it'll actually pass that through instead of any of these. So these are just blockers. So you can use these to fill up because it pretty much ignores everything else that's in here. And everything else that fills up has to be the dough. So what's nice about this is as soon as this hits 30, it's going to start filling up. It's going to start going to this one. So the dough is going to actually continue through here. I'll show you what that means in a little bit. All right, so we're going to, from here, we are going to combine. So let's go ahead and get our grass here and fill it up under here like that. All right, that looks good. Okay, let's go ahead and plow this as well. So right here, we're gonna actually use input output chests again. It's just so we don't have things despawning. We don't really want to use conveyors unless we have to. So in this case, because of the spacing between these two, you kind of have to like that. but this is fine right here. This is going to save us a lot of time for travel time. And then we're going to put this thing right here. So basically from this point, we're combining our starfruit because we're not going to count whatever's going on here yet. So we got the starfruit and we got the dough. This over here is going to make starfruit cake right now. So we're going to switch this over to starfruit cake. And then from here, we're going to use storage chest. So let's go ahead and cut this out real quick. Just cut into this. We can repair this afterwards. All right, let's keep going on this. All right, and it comes out right here, right? Then we want a little storage end cap so we don't have stuff flying out like that. And then I'm actually going to terraform around it a little bit. All right, now you wouldn't even know it's there unless you looked. So that's pretty much it right here. And you can just kind of check on it, see how your stuff's going on, if it's filling up right there. Alternatively, what you're going to do is you're going to come in here and you're going to pretty much grab everything that way. So that's just how we're going to do that. Fill that in like that. Now, let's go ahead and plant our starfruit seeds real quick just so we can get that over with. And then we're going to move on to tomatoes and carrots. And you might be wondering, like, DV, how do we shut these off? I'm going to show you something really cool after this. It's going to be our carrots. Should be the same distance. Okay, let's get our carrot totems out. Same thing, 1, 2, 3. And then we did 3 in between. Something like that's fine. All right, let's plow these. I was going to stack this. I decided not to. Let's do this. Let's add one more totem on this side. Get rid of these because we don't want it. We don't want the crops planting on this. And this side, we're actually going to do tomatoes. So let's go ahead and cut this right here. And the nice thing about this, you can actually stack these if you really, really wanted to. All right, 2 paths right here. This is fine. All right. So I leave the grass on here because I don't want seeds kind of straying out here. Okay, so this one's a little more challenging. So again, we do need to wash our crops before we can actually feed anything out here. So that's going to be a bit of a challenge. So let's go ahead and block that out though. And we need to put a conveyor right here. So one thing I forgot I needed to put in here, we need to actually put the oven right there. So let's put our oven right here. We can't just feed stuff directly out there. We got to cook it first. So let's put our oven right there and we're going to put a coal totem right here. Be good right there. All right, that should be good. Let's put a coal totem right there. There we go. So now we're actually feeding our oven. You can't forget to actually bake these. And I totally skipped that step. Thankfully, it's the same size as an input and output chest. So that was easy to just swap in. So now anytime we get starfruit cake coming through here, we're going to be good to go. Okay, so here's what we're going to have. We're going to have to do this one. Even though we did it this way, we do need the washing stations for both the tomatoes and the carrots. We're going to need 2 washing stations. So let's grab our washing stations. So the food processor is going to go on this side for the tomatoes, right? So we're pretty much going to go on that right there, and we are going to space it by 1. So we do want that space intentionally. So we're going to put a conveyor at this end, and I'm going to show you why in a moment. So we're going to put a conveyor on both of these sides at the end. This one's actually going to go directly into a washing station prior, because with tomatoes, you actually need tomato sauce. I'm going to show you that again. We have to make tomato sauce before we can actually make our pizza. So let me show you. That's why tomatoes, I would say carrot cakes and starfruit cake are the best. But again, you need as many variety options as you can. While you could just make a ton of starfruit cake or the other, what happens when you can't actually sell it to the baker? So that's why we're making a variety of different foods. This is a daily food shop design. This is not like how do you get rich the fastest with foods. This is all about how do you make the most versatile and most practical food farm possible. And of course, after you've done this, you can actually continue to iterate on and stuff. In order to be able to make pizza, we need tomato sauce. Well, in order to be able to make tomato sauce, we need tomatoes. So that's why we have this food processor. It is going to be making tomato sauce, and this is actually going to be cleaning our carrots. I'm going to show you why we need this space for these in a moment, so you'll understand clearly why we're doing that. And then right here, we're going to put a washing station prior to the food processor. So that basically means this area over here is completely useless to us. So you can actually, if you want to, you can just make this a flower garden or something. If you want to breed flowers or something right here, go for it. Pretty much wasted space because we got to back it up a bit right here. Now we can drop down from here. And so what we're going to do on this one right here, we're going to put a conveyor right there, and we are going to put another conveyor right here, right? So this is the first conveyor. And then we're going to space this out kind of like that. And then we're going to expand this out over here. So pretty much this area is now going to have to get extended out just a bit just for the tomatoes. 1, 2, and then 3. So this is going to be the third section. So to avoid stuff getting planted on, just kind of build up. It's looking pretty good. All right, that's good. And then we need the conveyors over here. 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2, 3 right there. And now we need some input-output chests over here. So this one's going to drop right here. This one's going to drop right there, and so on, right? So we just have to space these so that they always drop right here. Now, what's going to happen if you leave it like this and you don't actually fix it, what's going to happen is the totem's going to drop stuff off, and it's going to land right here. So we need to block that from happening. Now, if you do end up having issues where these conveyors are actually pushing things into these, so you can always just space them out one more row and just have this part be empty. In fact, you know what? We should probably do that now. Even though it's a little bit more work, we're going to prevent issues in the future. So let's go ahead and do that now. I'll show you what I'm talking about. So we'll just move this out one block. It's going to save us some issues in the future like that. And that'll save us a lot of issues in the future. Because what would happen is if you had this, it could actually fall out into the other conveyor and mess up your farm. As cool as it looked, it'll actually save you a lot of time and trouble. All right, so pretty much you have a divider there, right? And you've got, this is gonna be our carrot. So let's go ahead and get our carrot totems out so we know this is our carrot side. And the other thing you're gonna want is, because this does actually require coal, you're going to share that conveyor right here. So let's go ahead and get that coal totem. So you're gonna share that right there. And that is going to feed your washing station. Don't forget to put your conveyor in front of it. Again, that's important. I'm going to show you why that's important in a minute. And then we need our washing station. So let's get our washing station out. That's going to be right here. And then we have input output chests behind that like this. And let's back this up a bit. There we go. And that's how that looks. And then we're going to put our tomato totems out. So pretty much they're going to be spaced very similarly. So this one right here, we're going to plow this in a minute. And then this is going to be 1, 2, 3 across in between. 1, 2, 3. It's going to be right there. Let's put our conveyors out. And similar, again, now we won't have an issue where things are dropping down into the other conveyors. So that looks great. And let's go ahead and plow this real quick. So it's 1, 2, and 3. All right, so there's our tomato area. Now we are set to plant. So let's go and get our seeds out. And then similar over here, we need to put our coal totem right here to feed our washing station. Okay, there we go. And let's set this to make sure we set this to tomato paste, because that's what we're cooking there. That's what we'll be making. That's what we be making. All right, now let's go and get our carrot seeds. See, this is way too far right here. So let's go ahead and plow this. It's never gonna be able to reach it. So let's get our carrots. Let's go and get that out. And because we backed this one out, we need to actually add some grass to this as well. Okay, so now we got our seeds planted. Let's go to the next stage here. So we got all of our conveyors going. We got this powered. We got everything working, right? So how do we toggle this? You're going to be like, DV, you got all this stuff going into the same processor. How is this supposed to work? Well, you can only have a single setting on this food processor here at a time, right? So we do have the dough coming through, and then we have to feed whatever we're cooking. What happens when we actually want to toggle this? Well, there's a couple things. So first of all, you could actually just separate your farms all together if you really wanted to. But what if you didn't want to have that many food processors out and you just kind of wanted to focus things? There's a couple things you could do. First of all, what you could do is you can store up all of your crops. Say you just want to sell a bunch of, carrots, or you want to use the carrots for something else. Here's how we're going to do it. So pretty much we're going to drill down right here like this, and then same right here. So we're going to take this out real quick, and it's going to be right here. So see these holes? We're going to have a hole right there. We're going to have a hole there and there. Okay. So how it's going to work is we're going to add a block down here, and we need a walkway. And so we can actually see and work down here real quick. Get a walkway. Okay. Now I can see. And so see how these items are dropping down? We don't really want that to happen. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to put this right here, and we're going to put chests down here. And we're going to capture all of the crops that are falling down. With input output chests again, I prefer input output chests because you can fit so much more. There's one right there, there's one there, and we need one over here. So you can see when they drop down, they're going to go in that chest. Of course, these are still filling up. Those are still going. So how this is going to work is we're going to be able to drop down here and check our chests anytime we want. So I'm just going to make a little platform area over here for maintenance purposes. Now, depending on how much you actually want to save, you can pretty much extend these out, as long as you want. I like to check these very rarely, so they're going to always be full, So I'm pretty much just going to do 2 input output chests on each of these, including this one over here. So we're going to pretty much double down on this one as well, like that. And the nice thing about this is if I ever want to make a bunch of one of these, I'm actually going to feed them in. I'm going to show you how to do that as well. So if I have a bunch of supplies and I just want to make a bunch of this very quickly, I could. And so now whenever I want to, I could pretty much just drop down here. I'm going to set up some stairs real quick so I don't lose, so I don't have to keep dropping off to the void each time I want to check on these. Let's put a little bit of space here because I know I'm going to fall. There we go. And then now I can just come back up here. So depending on which one I actually want active right now, I could just kind of destroy this. So again, If I want all of them going for some reason or another, that's a bad idea because you're going to start getting mixed stuff like this. But you pretty much just disable them by, you know, picking them out. So you just get the pickaxe and say, okay, today I'm going to be making starfruit. So let's go and disable these. And then you go on to your day, right? And then, of course, you want to swap this out as well. If I don't want to do starfruit, just do that. And then whichever one you want to do, just enable it. So in this case, maybe I want to do carrots. Then I'm going to do that and switch this to carrots. Carrot cake. And of course, this one's fine. This one's going to always be making, you know, dough for us, which is great. Now, if I want pizza, then I'm going to switch to pizza. I'm going to go over here. I'm going to turn off carrots like that. And then I'm going to add a conveyor to the tomato one. So that's pretty much how you do it. It's real simple. So it's like, you know, today I feel like making carrot cake. You know, in that case, just make sure this is connected. Drop this off. I'm just going to keep showing you so you can get an idea of what I'm doing. Just watch that. Now it's making carrot cake. Now it's making pizza. Super simple, right? Super simple. And of course, you just need to make sure this is switched to pizza. Yep. And if I want to make starfruit cake again, I'm going to switch it to starfruit cake. Just make sure this one is patched over here. Take this one out. Now, eventually we can use electrical items to control this completely. You cannot currently, unfortunately, because the day and night cycle is going to completely break it. So if I were to do this with electrical, it's going to get out of sync at night because as soon as the power goes out, then everything breaks. Because I would probably use switches or something. And the problem is, like I said, everything's going to break at night. And we don't want stuff to break at night. We want it to continue to do as it was at night. So this should be making right now. This is making starfruit cake. Just make sure that is starfruit cake and we're good to go. Now, the reason why it's not making anything yet is these are still filling up. You know, we still have all of these filling up. I'm actually really happy with this farm. I don't really see that many weaknesses. The only thing I could say is it could make a whole lot more. And if you wanted to make a whole lot more, you just need to make a stack design, and stack designs are super easy to do, and it wouldn't be that hard at all to do a stack design. The other great thing about this is you're going to get cooking XP. So you are going to continue each time it makes something right here, it's going to actually give you cooking XP. There's our cooking XP. So we're going to actually level up very fast because of this farm as well. Now you're wondering, well, DV, what if I want to make berry dough or I want to make all these other options, right? So you got all these different options over here. You got berry dough. You've got some, so the secondary items we can actually make if we really, really wanted to. We can actually make berry dough. Okay, so berry dough is very simple. Look how many berries I have. I have a bunch of dough already. So if I have 1,900 berries, how can I actually make berry dough? Here's how you're going to do it. And it's going to be challenging if you don't have a lot of dough with you. You are going to want to pre-stack a bunch of dough. That's what's kind of nice about something like this, is because if you have a bunch of these, what you could do is you could just clear them out and then you can do this. So watch this. So we're actually going to do a feeder. I'm going to show you how to make a feeder for your food processing farm so we can make a ton. Watch this. All right, so we need stairs. So I have 468 stairs, concrete stairs. So we're just gonna use our brick stairs. So we're gonna go and use that for our feeder. And so how this is gonna work is we're actually going to block this out like this, and we're gonna make a funnel. All right, and so now we're gonna put some grass around here. Let's go ahead and just block this out right here. So now you should just have something like this, right? So you have like a little funnel. And what we're gonna do is we're going to actually put stairs right here, stairs right here, stairs right here, like this. And then you're going to do it at one more layer like that. And so now you can actually just drop stuff directly in here. So depending on what you're trying to make, you can actually drop stuff in here. Now, the best thing to do is actually mount if you're going to do this. The best thing, so your character doesn't start animating kind of weird, grab one of your animals and mount them like that. That way your character doesn't animate while you're dropping. See how it's going to always drop in the center if you're mounted on your pet. Prior to this, you're going to actually swap out your food processor. And you need to shut off everything else if you're going to do this. So you don't want to have any of this stuff going. So pretty much we just killed everything. That's good. So the only thing you should have in here is your dough. And so let's go ahead and grab a bunch of dough as well. So you're going to want a bunch of dough on you. And then you're going to come over here and you can go to your food processor. You're going to change to whatever you're going to make. In this case, we're going to make a ton of berry dough and we're going to cook it, right? Now, you do have limitations on how fast your oven is, but you could actually queue up quite a bit of this before it starts, you know, kind of killing over. So let's go ahead and get our berries out and let's get our dough as well. We're going to go right here. We're going to drop a bunch of dough in. We're going to drop a bunch of berries in and just kind of keep swapping between these. See how fast that's making? So this is all queued up, right? So you don't want to overdo it. You don't want to, you know, kill the machine. You can see it's making so many pies already. So let's keep dropping these. Bunch of berries in. So the great thing about the food processor's not going to have any kind of time, like food process time. It's immediate. But you also don't want to overfeed your oven. At some point, it can get backed up. But this is a great way to force feed anything you want to make into your food processor. Now, ideally, it's going to be stuff that, you know, is going to be dough related and baked. So it can only be dough and baked. If you want to do anything else, unfortunately, it's going to be a completely different farm. You might want to just make a one-off, you know, farm like this, like a food processor farm where you just set it up separate somewhere else. But everything that I'm going to make here is pretty much going to be baked. So you can see everything that's going to need to be baked is going to be berry dough. You could do the same process for apple pies. You could do the same process for lemon bread and orange cake. So pretty much all of these. So if you have if you have a ton of lemons, oranges, or if you have a ton of berries or apples, this is a great way to make not only a ton of XP, you're also going to be able to make quite a bit of food here. So you can see how much we've already made. And so I'm just going to go and check in here. I've already made 22 berry pies just in the matter of like a minute. So again, you know, just make sure you're mounted on one of your characters. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please hit that like button and smash the subscribe button if you're new. Anyway, thanks again, and I will see you all tomorrow. Peace.